Hi everyone, welcome to the Waffle Flower channel. Katie Gehring here with a supersized episode of Throwback Thursday. This week I am using the new Lacy Layers 5x7 dies along with the Cutaway Alpha stamp set and the First Step stamp set to create a card that was very much inspired by The Wizard of Oz. So this First Step stamp set was released, I believe it was over the summer, and immediately when I saw those little shoes, I thought about wouldn't it be cool to turn them into a pair of ruby slippers and pair it with a customized sentiment with Cutaway Alpha. The problem is the sentiment was just going to be way too big for your typical A2, 4¼ by 5½ card. So that's why I was so excited that Waffle Flower Crafts came up with the Lacy Layers 5x7 dies, which I will be using today on my card to create a little layer towards the end. So what I'm doing first is I have pulled out the Cutaway Alpha stamp set, and I'm just kind of figuring out the placement of my sentiment. I'm going to be stamping my sentiment one line at a time. So I'm starting with the center line, which is no place. And then I am going to leave some of those letters in place and then also shift the letters that I need for the second line to the row below so that I can make sure that I've got everything placed somewhat evenly, and wanted to show you here how easy the MISTI makes it to do sentiments like this. I needed to borrow the E from like to finish home and was just able to kind of quickly peel up that letter, add it to the end of the word, and then stamp it. And then the same thing here with theirs. So I need the E from the earlier part of the word, and so I'm just able to kind of peel that off and then also add the apostrophe S to the end of the word, and it makes it just really simple to stamp sentiments like that. So now that my sentiment is all stamped out, I've moved on to creating my ruby slippers. So for that, I've pulled out the First Step stamp set, and I am stamping these slippers onto red cardstock because I want them to have a red base. I'm going to be adding some stuff on top of the cardstock, but should any gaps exist in between what I add, I definitely want the base of it to be red. So there are matching dies for those cute little bows that I'll be adding to the shoes, but for the shoes themselves, I'm going to just old-fashioned fussy cut them out with a pair of my handy Fisker scissors. And as I'm doing this, I mean, these are really easy shapes to cut out, but I do hold my scissors at a little bit of an angle, and I just try to cut along the outside edge of the line, and I try to turn the paper more than I turn my scissors, and that helps make sure that I get nice rounded corners. I'll also share a tip with you here in a minute about how I make my fussy cutting look even better than my skill set is. So now I am ready to die cut those little bows, and I've lined up the die with the stamped image. I'm going to hold it in place with just a tiny bit of washi tape and run that guy through my die cut machine twice. So now for my big tip about how I get even better results when I am hand cutting images. I just take a wide tip Sharpie marker. I borrowed it from my kids' school supply pail, and I just run the marker along the edge of the die cut, and it just kind of magically fills in any of those tiny little gaps which may have been left behind with my scissors, and it just really makes it look like there's a solid black border and that I cut things flawlessly. So now I have moved on to adding some sparkle to my ruby slippers, and to do that, and I've sped this up quite a bit, I am just using some glossy accents and then some red sequins from my craft stash, and I went ahead and pulled out my craft stick to make the placement of the sequins even easier, and I'm just adding the glossy accents and then the sequins, and then when I get along to the very bottom edges of those shoes, I just cut a sequin in half and glue it to the shoe shape. I am going to repeat this process for the second shoe, and then I'm going to do something a little bit different with the bows, which I'll show you here in just a moment. Now for the bows, you'll see that there's quite a bit of detailed stamping that's included there, and I didn't want to lose all of those lines because I thought they looked really nice. So I obviously can't cover it completely with sequins, otherwise I would lose that. And then I also can't cover it completely with glitter because it would be too opaque and it wouldn't show through. So what I decided to do was a little bit of a compromise. So I am adding about 5 sequins to either side of the bow knot, and then I am taking the glossy accents and just kind of adding a little bit of extra adhesive, and then I'm sprinkling it with glitter. And then that way this stamped lines still show through, but it's definitely glittery. Now I have pulled out the largest die that's included in the Lacy Layers 5x7 stamp set. It's a rectangle that measures exactly 5 inches by 7 inches, and it has a beautiful stitched border around the outer edge. And I use that to cut my card panel so that it is going to fit exactly on top of a 5x7 card. I am adhering the shoes to the bottom of the card, and I just have to trim off a tiny bit of excess with a pair of scissors. And then I'm going to add those glittery sequin bows to the shoes with a little bit of foam tape. I'm going to be wrapping up this card here, but if there is a stamp set that you would like to see featured in an upcoming episode of Throwback Thursday, just leave me a comment below or on the Waffle Flower blog. For more product information, visit waffleflower.com. Follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook for even more creative ideas. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Have a great day.